Alright, so let's talk about Blueprints. And everybody's been talking about it, everybody's been playing it, clearly. Folks who are following along with my full playthrough on my Joe Plays Puzzle Games channel, you'll see here I'm on day 20. I've been playing a lot, and I can't stop playing. And every evening where I don't get time to play it, I'm like, oh, why did I not have time to play Blueprints today? Because I just want to keep playing it. But what we're going to do today is we're going to start a new profile. Yeah, I've been playing for 24 hours. We're going to start a new profile. And we can talk a little bit about like what the game is and how I'm feeling about it at the moment. And you can probably imagine I'm feeling pretty positive. Very cinematic intro. It's like I'm watching a movie. It's our pal, Herbie.
I, Herbert S. Sinclair of the Mount Holly Estate at Reddington. I give and bequeath to my grandnephew.
That note's interesting.
Son of my dear niece, Mary Matthew. Provision and bequest is contingent on my aforementioned grandnephew discovering the location of the 46th room of my 45
Which,
estate.
in my 20 days of playing the game, I still have not done. I have not found room 46 yet. I know some people find it really early. I think I heard of a day one find. I'm not sure. Maybe they've played it already. Yeah, I mean, also like just all the like random generation needs to line up perfectly to get a day one win. But maybe you just like keep restarting until you get the perfect run. But I don't even know what the conditions are that I need to match to get room 46. Okay, day one. So this is how Blueprints begins. We are entering a large manor, the manor of our uncle, who has said we can have it if we find room 46. And there's a little letter here, which we won't read through in detail right now. If you want to see me read through in detail, you can do that in my other playthrough. But some important things: no tools or items may be brought onto the estate from the outside. Tools and items found on the estate may not be taken off the estate, and you may not stay overnight. Effectively, this game is... we have to pick this up first. So pick up the blueprint next to it. This will serve as a useful map and inventory log during your adventure. So then we can view it here. So this manor is like procedurally generated, and we have to draw tiles to place into the manor to be able to explore through it, which is very reminiscent of Betrayal at House on the Hill, the board game, which is a fun board game, although also has problems. It's fun, but sometimes it's fun because of how bad it is. But if you enjoy games that are sometimes bad, you might enjoy Betrayal at House on the Hill. So then what happens is, if we walk up to a door and click on it, we get given 3 rooms that we can draft, basically. Some of the rooms have like special abilities. Whenever you enter this room, gain 2 steps. Oh yeah, so you'll notice that we've got 50 steps. So this bedroom is nice because every time you walk through it, you gain 2 steps, so steps are used. Let's pick one that doesn't have steps. So we're going to pick the hallway because it has 2 exits on it. And as you can see, we're limited to this like 5 wide space and 9 tall. So we want to make sure our exits allow us to explore the building as much as we can. And then we can go into this corner, draw something else. There's like notes and things along the way. Doors in the west wing are more likely to be locked. And then we'll click on this door. And then we've got the bedroom again. So that's just random chance. We could have got a set of 3 rooms that were completely different. Let's actually instead... So you'll notice that when we walked into the hallway, the footsteps went down to 49. And if we hit 0, then we become exhausted and the day ends. And then we start tomorrow with a completely new house. Which we will see when we get there. I guess I'll try and force myself to like end the day, because that's the interesting thing about this game, is that you get pretty good at like strategically placing rooms so that you're able to continue the day as long as possible. 50 steps though is not a huge amount. You will run out eventually. So some rooms, like the parlor, contain puzzles. So there's a puzzle over here, which this will explain to us, but I'll explain it. Basically, it's a like knights and knaves style puzzle where the boxes each have statements on them, and what you know is that at least one is telling the truth, at least one is lying, and that the gems are in one of the boxes. You are in the parlor. So we can, like, it says in the bottom right corner we're in the parlor. So we know we're there. So that's true. So that means that out of the next two, one of them at least must be false. This box is empty, and the blue box is true. So we know the blue box is true, so then this is true, so therefore this must be false. And so if this is false, then this box is not empty and it has the stuff in it. The stuff, what's the stuff? The stuff is... Ooh, 2 gems. So you'll see at the top right of the corner now, I have 2 gems. So there's also like a kind of resource management aspect to this game. So let's keep exploring. So you keep doing this. You just keep walking through the house, like discovering new rooms. Let's go to the den. And obviously when you're coming through them for the first time, you also want to pay attention to like everything, like what's going on in here. You get used to eventually like what you need to be paying attention to. Obviously you want to look for notes and have a read of those because they provide a bit of story. Pay attention to a bunch of details, but you do get used to like, oh, there's items usually in these particular places in the room, so you don't have to completely scour everything in a room. So then let's go into the den, and as you're playing it for the first time, you'll be seeing rooms, a chess piece, that you've never seen before, and so you'll want to pay close attention in each one. The gem here, sometimes there's something interesting here, but not today. So yeah, as you can see, like I know where to look in each room. Also some interesting pictures on the wall. How curious. And the thing you'll find with this game is that you'll just be going, I'm sure this is going to be important. Like, surely this is important in some way. Surely these huge clocks on the wall, like... So there are things I'm talking about that I know are important. I don't have any idea whether the clocks in this room are important or not. They tell the time, and there is a time that is like consistent throughout the house as far as I can tell. But like still, there's like so many clocks in here. This is gonna be relevant in some way, right? And this chess piece has got to be relevant somehow. But for now, they just have them as lingering questions. Where should we go next? So obviously I know some of the kind of strategies. So I probably, if I were playing it myself, it's not the worst place to put a closet. Let's do it. So the closet has 2 items in it. I'm not going to play like strategically this time. I'm just going to do whatever I feel like. So we found an item. A small coin purse. Each time you collect 3 coins, earn an additional 1 coin in interest. So there's a very like board gamey feel to this, which I really enjoy. And so we know there's coins now as well. So there's obviously another resource type that we haven't found yet. Let's go this way. We could do that bedroom where we regain steps. Let's just do that to show how it works. So get the bedroom. So it's obviously 1 step to walk into the bedroom. And so to be clear, you can walk around a room as much as you like and you don't lose any steps. You can look at everything in here. No steps lost. It's only when you cross the border. So let's do that with the closet again. 44 steps. 43 steps. So you want to be careful sometimes about whether you're crossing that boundary or not. So with this bedroom, which said, let's have a look at it again. Whenever you enter this room, gain 2 steps. So we walk in, we lose a step, but then we regain 2 steps. So effectively, like you're cancelling out, oh look, another item. You're effectively cancelling out the steps from going into the room and out of the room. So it's kind of like bridges the gap between whatever room's before it and whatever room's after it, which is nice. Oh, a little picture of Reddington. I have no idea whether there's anything like anything like puzzly important in this yet or not. I'm still like, basically I'm 20 days in and I'm still suspicious of everything. So it would not surprise me if there was something in that. So interestingly here, so if you press tab when you're drafting the rooms, you can see like where it's going to go. And they're always positioned so that the bottom door is the door that you're going through. And so here we have 2 right turns and 1 dead end. And so they all end up dead ending because the door hits the closet and you can't go into the closet that way. So maybe I'll just get the guest bedroom here and get the extra 10 steps. Why not? Keep exploring around the house. And so, okay, so they're always positioned irritatingly. What, the rooms? Or the doors? Oh yeah. There are items in the game that affect... got another item here. That affect where doors end up. So keycard opens electronically powered security doors. And some notes that you can have a read through if you like. I was talking about the billiard room. Yeah, so here's a little clue. So this is the kind of thing that happens, is that there's another room in the house, which is the billiard room, which we haven't found yet. And there's some indication here that it has mathematical puzzles. And I appreciated that I didn't need to know the rules of darts to play your variation. So there's little clues in different rooms to other rooms that are in the house as well. So there's kind of like the very first layer of the game is this roguelike room drafting thing of like you're walking, that +2 steps happens every time I walk through here as well. Where you're drafting rooms and you're trying to do it strategically. And it is actually really interesting, this like the strategy of figuring out how to place rooms to A, not dead end yourself, B, see as many new rooms as you can, because it's really important to see new rooms as much as you can. Often they have like game-changing things in them. And that's like I'd say that's like one of the most exciting things of the game, is you draw a new room and there's something in there that's just like, oh, this this changes everything. In sometimes very like dramatic ways that are not just like, oh, you get 10 keys or whatever. Like very dramatic ways. This game unveils itself gradually, and you will be constantly going, wait, this happens in this game? This happens in this game? There's just like layers upon layers. So in some ways it's similar to like Animal Well, in that game had like 5 layers of puzzly stuff going on. Yeah, it's deep, and I'm only at day 20, and I know people have gone on much longer than that as well, and they're still going and finding stuff. Let's keep doing a bit more exploration. So then the other thing that happens, okay, so you also get rooms that require gems in order to draft them. So that's kind of how the resources work. Keys open locked doors, and we haven't encountered a locked door yet, I don't think, but there are locked doors, and there's kind of a system behind how common locked doors and that kind of stuff, and you can try and figure that out as you play the game. But there's also gems that you use to draft rooms, and so if you want like a fancier room, like this courtyard, you're going to need to spend a gem on it. And early on in the game, you're going to be really limited on keys and gems until you figure out ways to improve that situation. But let's check out the courtyard. Ooh, there's another item in here. I always love getting this item. This is the metal detector, a functioning metal detector specifically. Greater chance of finding keys and coins. And as you walk through rooms, let's go check out some more rooms. Let's go to the drawing room. You may draw new floor plans while drafting in this room. So those of you who know more, you'll know that there's something going on in this room more than meets the eye. So there's also this aspect, so I know this because I've gotten further in my playthrough, but this is like the next layer of the game, is the kind of meta puzzling aspect. And the game is really good at, I've found the game is really good at gradually giving you clues towards various meta puzzles. So if you can kind of figure stuff out with just one clue or whatever. If you do that, you feel amazing because you figured something out with very minimal information. Sometimes it might take a couple of clues, sometimes 3 or 4 or whatever, but eventually you'll like understand like what's going on in certain places. So yeah, you have rooms like this. It's like, what the heck is going on? There's all these portraits. Well, it's the drawing room, and there's a picture being drawn, and there's more stuff going on. So it ends up feeling a lot like a like puzzle hunt style thing, where you're getting little clues and then figuring out like, oh, this clue that I got over here is connected to this other puzzle that we're solving earlier, and there's something else going on in that space. I'm kind of interested to find out at some point, maybe we'll talk to the developer at some point, like if the random generation of like which rooms you get is like uniformly random. I mean, it's not uniformly random in the sense that you can look at this like directory of rooms, and each room has like a rarity, commonplace. Like, what else do we have? Do we have anything that's a bit more rare? I don't think we do right now. There's the antechamber. Oh yeah, should have mentioned that. So you'll notice that on the blueprint to begin with, there's an antechamber at the top of the house, and that's just permanent and it's always there. And so to begin with, you'll probably kind of identify that as your like main goal. Like, I guess I'll try and get to the antechamber. But as you go throughout the game, your goal will adapt and you'll like have other things that you want to focus on. That also reminds me a little bit of Outer Wilds in a way. So like one thing that's interesting is that this game obviously came out and the critical reviews were really, really positive. It was interesting to see that on Steam, it's like at 80-something% in the reviews. I think that will go more positive over time. I think what happened there is it was very hyped up and a lot of people saw it and wanted to play it. And it just didn't gel well with a bunch of people, which is not too surprising. It is you need to be patient. You got to deal with the strategy of these, like drawing these rooms. You've got like meta puzzles going on. And like one major aspect of the game that I think is interesting is that because of the random generation, it's really hard to focus on an individual puzzle at once. You sort of have to just be like, I'm going to let the game give me whatever puzzles it wants to give me and I'll deal with them. And you're still like, it doesn't feel like the game is like feeding you the answers or anything because you still have to figure stuff out. But sorry, just catching up on chat. When I first encountered the dartboard, I just kept remembering the sequence where things changed. But once I figured out to do it, I was like, oh, I see. There are some rooms that are relevant to specific spots in the house. Indeed, it's also a pretty escape room-like game. Yeah, absolutely. There's like, I guess it feels quite escape roomy, not because you're not escaping a room. I guess you're trying to get into this room as your initial goal. But to me, the thing that like makes it feel escape roomy is that the puzzles are like diegetic in this house, but as in, like it's not like a game where the puzzles are abstract and disconnected from the house. It's, you know, the puzzles are items in the house. They're like they're literally like objects that you're interacting with. And therefore, it's also not a kind of systemic puzzle game in the sense that it's not like a Monsters Expedition or like most Sokoban games or whatever, where there's like one system that you're exploring a lot. No, it's like there's a whole load of systems going on here. You've got the room drafting system. You've got the meta puzzles going on. Each meta puzzle is like a completely different thing. So it feels escape roomy in that way. I've enjoyed my time in this game, but after having achieved the basic objective of the game, which I still have not done yet, very little reason to go back to the meta puzzles because the RNG of the house gets in the way of solving them. I could see that being a problem. I'm not at that point yet, so I haven't experienced that. So like it's interesting, like seeing the criticisms of the game, not totally agreeing with them, but knowing that maybe my feeling will change at a certain point. But I don't know yet. There's like a meme image that I saw. You know, the one where it's like the bell curve, and there's like somebody on the left, somebody on the right, and somebody in the middle, and and it was just about like, I think the one on the left was saying like, oh, the RNG is annoying or something. I can't remember what it was specifically. The one in the middle is like the person that where I am, which is like, no, the RNG just needs to work with it, and if you're solving many things at the same time, you'll be totally fine. And then the person who's played it the most is like, no, the RNG is annoying. So I could believe that's true. Went to a room with a specific goal last night, ended the day with like 3 new goals instead. That's the thing that I'm feeling at the moment, is that every time I go in, even if I have something I want to do, I usually have a few things I want to do. In fact, so I've been keeping notes. Here's my notebook that I use while playing. Very much recommended to have a notebook. So I have, I think, currently 15 pages of notes or something. Try not to show anything too closely because it'll have spoilers. But most of my notes are like lists of questions that I have, like, oh, this seems interesting, I'll write that down, and then I can go back to it later. Some of it is like you find like a map or something and you want to write down notes about what's on the map. Once I achieved the basic objective, I think what annoyed me was how little of what I'd learned is actually part of that objective. Right. And that's the other thing. I don't know how much of what I'm puzzling has anything to do with getting to room 46. But yeah, I literally have no idea which of the threads I'm following is about getting to room 46, which is the kind of main objective. But I think even once I get there, I'll be still keen to follow up on these other things that I'm trying to do. Let's explore a little bit more. Why not? Oh, so our metal detector's going off. Oh, there's a coin on the floor. So yeah, the metal detector tells you when there's metal objects nearby, which isn't necessarily all the items you can pick up. And you'll notice, oh, there's some kind of safe in this room. Who knows what the code is? I've got no idea. Let's just draw rooms that I wouldn't draw in a real run. I mean, storeroom is pretty handy though, because like, especially early on in the game, keys and gems are very scarce. I guess I'll draw another dead end, and we'll end the run. So obviously you wouldn't do that normally, but I've drawn entirely dead ends, and now we can't go any further. So once you've got nothing to do, you have a way of saying call it a day. You can also do it from the tab menu, call it a day here. Really great run, thank you. I achieved so much. So you call it a day, and then you get a little summary of what happened that day. I made a small inn. I really loved all the details of like giving a name to the house depending on what you did. And there's also another room in the house that gives you other interesting stats as well, which is fun. I think there's probably more than one, but I think I only know of one. And then you hit save and continue, and it's day 2. And on day 2, of course, it's a roguelike. Nothing is the same. The doors are closed. The letter's still here. So, some things are the same. The entrance hall is the same. The end chamber is the same. But what's on the other side of this door is not the same. Let's do the nook. Yay! There's a key. Lovely. So yeah, that's kind of a general overview of what's going on with Blueprints. I'm really enjoying it. I particularly love the sense of mystery that's constantly there. Oh, you can go outside. Huh. This fountain sure looks interesting. Seems to be so much to see out here. But yeah, I'm particularly loving all the mystery and the peeling back of layers, and it's very dramatic in how it peels back those layers. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a thing, and this is a thing, and this is a thing. Like, where is this game going? I know that even like 20 days in, I'm like barely scratching the surface. There's so much to discover in this game, and I'm really enjoying it. And I have not yet had the frustrations that people have had of like fighting the random generation. But like the most common complaint I've seen is that the roguelike aspect of it, drafting the rooms and it resetting every day, isn't very compatible with the puzzle aspect of it, like solving the meta puzzles, which I can totally understand. And I could imagine being in a place like a few more, even just a few more days from now, or like whatever, where I feel similarly. Like, you certainly could make the argument that a lot of the meta puzzles would work just as well if the house were just like a fixed layout, you were exploring it in some way, which is true. However, I find the roguelike, like the drafting thing, fun. Like figuring out the strategy is itself a kind of puzzle that I enjoy. I'm still, like, even though I'm not having like major revelations there, I'm still enjoying the like, oh, do I put this corner here, or do I want more doors, or is it okay to put a dead end here, all that kind of stuff. I find it really fun. But if that doesn't appeal to you, then I could see that bit getting frustrating, I guess. And sometimes you will just have bad days where you do what I just did and get to the third row and can't go any further. So that's going to happen sometimes. Thing I found as time went on is that there's some tools to mitigate the randomness, but I've liked more, especially when I solve more things and I'm trying to drill down. Yeah, I agree. So one of the things that I've really enjoyed is that feeling of like becoming more powerful and like oh, now basically at my point in the game at 20 days in, and this may happen earlier or later for you, is that I kind of feel like keys and gems are not as much of a problem, and steps. I still have to think about it, but they're not as much of a concern as they were at the beginning. And that's because the game does certain things. A, you like get better at the strategy, but B, you unlock certain things and you discover ways of using rooms in certain ways that will help you be better at it, and that is the fun part of that. I could imagine that, like, if it kind of caps out at a certain point where you're not getting more powerful, but you still want to like focus in on certain puzzles, it could get frustrating. Like, yeah, maybe the answer to people's complaints is add more of those kind of permanent upgrades, whether they're like actual upgrades, like items that you get or anything else, or if they are like just like knowledge that you learn through playing the game. Then yeah, like hopefully, like it would be great if that would like help you focus in on certain puzzles. That would be like a nice way to deal with the problem, and it would fit in with how the rest of the game feels. I mean, yeah, so we have on the Thinky Games website, we have an article which is like tips and tricks, and it's kind of, it's a non-spoilery article, and like one of the simplest tips is like, yeah, don't focus too hard on one thing, just like see what the house gives you and make sure to check out new rooms and all that kind of stuff, because they will give you new things to follow up on. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is there are some things that at first I felt were like annoying, or like this is going to get frustrating, or oh, I wish the game hadn't done this or something like that. And then you eventually draw a room that like negates the complaint. The game is a little bit cheeky in some sense. There are some things that are like like there's one thing that I'm thinking of which I felt at the time was like, oh, this is just like making me waste time. And then the game is like, oh, you don't have to do that anymore. Which is very cheeky, and I kind of appreciate how cheeky it is, but if you are more likely to just get annoyed by that, it might not be great for you. I'm at the point where I trust the game to constantly give me things that will help me deal with the problems that I'm facing. Maybe at a certain point that trust will go away, but I don't know yet. I'm only 20 days in, who knows what will happen. As you can see, there's all sorts of stuff going on in the outside environment as well, so you can have an explore out here yourself when you're playing it. Cool, I think that is pretty much all my thoughts at the moment. I'm really loving it. It's okay, if I were going to compare it to things, I would say it's like Outer Wilds in that like Outer Wilds, core premise of the game is it's not a roguelike because it's not randomized, but it's I don't want to say it because people consider it a spoiler, but like it has some similarities to this, and there's the feeling of discovery and going into it, not knowing what you're going to find and setting your own objectives and all that kind of stuff. That feels very similar, I think, to Blueprints. So Inscription I still haven't played, and I can imagine it's like Inscription though, because as far as I understand with Inscription, it has like the kind of like main game, and then it like expands on that a lot. What else is similar? I mean, it's, as I said, it's similar to the board game Betrayal at House on the Hill, just in its like, just in how it looks and feels like drafting these rooms. And then for like the kind of meta puzzling aspect, I'd compare it most to like doing a puzzle hunt, or there's, I might play it soon. There's a game that's on Dreams on the PlayStation 4 called Lock, L-O-C-K, not Lock, L-O-K. It's a different game. And I watched a playthrough of that, and I've since forgotten it. So I will. I'm thinking of playing it at some point, just because Blueprints has made me want to play it. But yeah, the meta puzzling aspect reminded me a lot of that game Lock. Kind of, in particular, the like attention to detail in like kind of everything's important is that's something that Lock does. I know that's a difficult recommendation because you've got to have a PlayStation 4 and also have Dreams. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about Blueprints. It's super cool. I'm loving it.